Whiskey and fall. There isn't really a better combination. Today, let's take a look at 6 great fall whiskeys. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Hutch, and thanks so much for joining me on this journey through the world of whiskey. So, that's right, fall is fast approaching, and honestly, it's probably my favorite time of year, just as we get to transitioning to a little bit cooler weather, leaves are changing, it's beautiful, and of course, whiskey is on the mind. Not only is it whiskey hunting season, but it's just sort of the best time of year, if you ask me, to be sipping on great whiskey. With that in mind, I've put together a list of 6 whiskeys that I think are just awesome for fall. I think they're just all awesome in general. All of these are relatively affordable and findable. We'll start with the more budget, findable options and work our way up to some of the more limited or special items on the list. Before we dive in, I do want to say if you're enjoying all the content coming out of the channel, would love to have you aboard as a subscriber for the end of 2023 and beyond. While you're at it, hit that like button, gets the video out to more people, and comment down below before we start the list. What are your top 5 or 6 favorite fall whiskeys? Do you have one that you sip on more than others? Let's start a conversation about whiskeys that are great for fall. Without further ado, let's just dive into the list with bottle number 1, a classic staple, one that brings some cinnamon brown sugar kick to the party, and that is Wild Turkey 101. So, for $20 to $25, this is a great bottle, a staple. I believe the age on this is right around 8 years old, so good age. It's just a classic, great bourbon, and it's going to give you those brown sugars, those cinnamons, a little bit of peanut, and it just goes really, really nice with fall. It'll give you a nice warm Kentucky hug as well. So really, really good one to start off the list. Plus, when you think of fall, you usually think of Thanksgiving and turkey, and you gotta have a wild turkey around for the fall, don't you? All right, quickly moving on here to bottle number 2, another classic staple that's got those warm, rich flavors. That's gonna be Elijah Craig Small Batch. So I get a nice char, oak, caramel, vanilla base to this one that just goes well in pretty much any season. It's just a classic quintessential bourbon. But again, I think it just really shines during the fall season. It's a nice 94 proof option, again for around 25, 26 bucks in most places. So really findable, affordable, nice warm, enveloping, rounded whiskey, and just a crowd pleaser too. Okay, bottle number 3 gets us into a different category of whiskey, rye whiskey, which if you ask me, rye whiskey might pair with fall better than even bourbon. Might be a hot take, but I'm loving ryes, especially as it gets colder. For me, this bottle has nice, rich, super sweet flavors for rye, and that is Michter's US 1 rye. So this, to me, has this like gingerbread cookie, sugar cookie note that is right at the center of it. Really, really nice and sweet. Very pleasant. This is low proof. The proof on this guy is only 84.8 proof, so super easy to sip on, but it's still got those warming, kind of tingly, great pop to it flavors that you want from a whiskey during the fall. And I think you could just sip on this one and it'll match those vibes really, really well. This bottle is a little more expensive, right around 40 to 45 bucks around me. So keep that in mind. It is also a single barrel, so you're gonna be getting a little bit more variety when you taste this, which is kind of cool. Moving right along to bottle number 4, pivots us actually fully away from rye and gets us into wheated bourbon. This one's just been killing the game since it came out recently, and that is Bardstown Bourbon Company's Bottled in Bond wheated whiskey. By golly, is this thing good. It's like bread, strawberry jam, raspberry notes in there. It's just so nice and warm and rounded, soft vanillas for days. It's just one of the better staple releases I've seen in the last couple of years. So if you haven't tried this already, I highly recommend picking it up. It's available for around 50 bucks. It's just really, really good stuff. Aged for at least 6 years, so got good number of age on it. And for fall, trust me, I think this bottle might be completely gone by the end of this fall season. Okay, the last 2 bottles on this list, just like the Michter's, are single barrels, though I would say these are more classically identified as single barrels. give you a little more variation, and could be fun to explore some new potential options this fall. First of those two is going to be one that brings really nice cherry and oak and has been getting a lot more traction, I think, especially among whiskey tubers lately, and that's going to be Baker's 7-year single barrel. So product from Jim Beam here that you know is at least 7 years old. Mine, if you keep an eye out for, because they are single barrels, mine is 8 years and 7 months old. So always check the age, because you could find something that's quite a bit older than 7 years. For me, this has like a peppery, cherry, little bit of nuttiness, but not too much. Really nice oak on it. It's really, really solid whiskey and beautiful presentation, and just kind of evokes fall. I think Jim Beam has that nice nutty, spicy kind of combo that just, I think, pairs really, really nicely with fall. So if you haven't tried out Baker's 7 yet, would highly recommend it. I know this one can be a little more spotty to find in certain places, so if it's not in your area, I'm sorry about that. Maybe when you're traveling, or if you have friends who are traveling, they might be able to see it and snag you one. And this bottle is usually available for around $60 to $65, which is a pretty reasonable price these days in the whiskey world for something pretty well aged and a little bit more special. All right, the final bottle on the list, bottle number 6, is one that I hesitated to grab from this distillery for a little while, but once I did, I saw how these single barrel options can really elevate their lineup, and that is a Knob Creek single barrel. So 120 proof, usually around 9 years old, could be older than that. So keep an eye out again for the age on these guys, because if you get one that's in that 11, 12, 13-year-old range, you really got something special. This for me though just screams fall. It's got vanilla, it's got caramel, rich caramel. It's got cinnamon spiciness for me, peanut, and you're gonna get most of those flavors most of the time with a Knob Creek, but turning it up to 120 proof, you know for fall that's really gonna help elevate the flavor experience and give you a nice warm rounded experience that you're looking for as fall, approaches and as it gets a little bit colder and whiskey just starts flowing. All right, everybody, that's gonna do it. This is our lineup of 6 whiskeys that I think are great for the fall season. I will certainly be sipping on each of these bottles, probably a little bit more than I have been over the summer. Gonna really dive in and enjoy these. They're all warm, rounded, great experiences if you ask me. Let me know in the comments below, have you tried any of these? Would you like to try any of these this fall? And if not, if you've got other favorites, let me know what you're sipping on this fall season. Until I see you guys again for another video, all I can say is keep drinking good whiskey and cheers.